Hi everyone, it's Emily from the Wellington County Museum and Archives. Welcome to our next installment of our Museum on Your Doorstep program. Grab those kits and let's get started. So the supplies that you'll need to make your very own robot are, in your kit you will find a cardboard tube. You'll also find some buttons, some beads, some googly eyes, a piece of tin foil, a pipe cleaner, and a square piece of paper. And then at home you'll need to find some glue so that we can glue it all together. Now we prefer for white glue for this craft as it'll help just a little bit, make it a little bit easier. But if you don't have white glue, that is totally fine. You can also use a glue stick or anything that you have available at home. So our very first step to make our very own robot is we're going to cover our cardboard tube here in our tin foil. So you can put everything else off to the side. We can move our googly eyes, our buttons, our beads, our pipe cleaner, and the glue off to the side. And you can decide whether you want your robot to have the shiny side facing you or sort of more of the muted side facing you. Totally up to you, whatever you prefer. I'm going to pick the shiny side facing outwards. So I'm going to roll my cardboard tube with the shiny side facing out, just like this. I'm going to pinch it together. And very, very carefully, I'm going to fold these extra ends into the inside so that it stays for us. I'm going to fold it in just like so, and then I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to fold in those ends just like this, and here we have our shiny robot. So far so good. The next thing that we're going to add is we're going to start adding the antennas. So we're going to bring in our pipe cleaner here, and we're going to need our glue, and we're also going to need the beads that were in your kit. So with this part here, we're going to start by attaching one end of the pipe cleaner into the inside of our cardboard tube, and we're going to put a little bit of glue inside. So I'm going to take my glue. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the inside of the tube here, just like this. And then I'm going to take the end of the pipe cleaner and I'm going to put it on the glue, and then I'm going to pinch it so that it stays. Now we're going to have to wait for a little bit while we pinch this together, and then we can move on to the next step. So these are the supplies that you're going to need to make your very own robot. In your kit, you'll find a cardboard tube just like this. You'll also find some tin foil, some buttons, some beads, some googly eyes, a little square piece of construction paper, and you'll also find a pipe cleaner. Now in your home, you'll have to find two things for us to finish putting this all together. The first thing that you'll need to find is a little bit of tape, and then you'll also need to find a little bit of glue. Once you have all those things, we can get started on our first step. The first step to making our robot is we're going to be covering our cardboard tube with the tin foil to make our robot nice and shiny. So you're going to take the tin foil and the cardboard tube. Everything else you can put off to the side because we won't need it until a little bit later. So those buttons, the beads, the googly eyes, your pipe cleaner, your glue, and your tape, you can put this all over to the side. You'll just need your cardboard tube and your tin foil. Now have a look at the tin foil and you'll see that one side is nice and shiny and the other side is also still shiny but a little bit more muted. You can pick which side you want for your robot, if you want the shinier side or if you want the more muted side to your tin foil. I'm going to use the very shiny side, so I'm going to put that down on the table. I'm going to take my cardboard tube and I'm going to roll the tin foil over the tube just like this so that that shiny side is sticking out. There we go. Now we're going to pinch and hold it, and I'm going to fold the extra ends on each end into the cardboard tube so that it stays put for us. So I'm going to take that end, I'm just going to tuck it inside the tube and pinch it just like this. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to fold the extra ends in and pinch. Perfect. So now we've got our shiny robot body ready to go for the next thing. Our next step that we're going to do is we're going to need the tape, we're going to need the pipe cleaner, and we're going to need those beads. So grab those things and we'll move on to the next one. This pipe cleaner is going to be the antennas for our robot. And we're going to start by taking a little piece of tape, and we're going to tape one end of the pipe cleaner into the inside of our tube here. Just like this. Make sure it sticks for us. If you want it to be a little bit stronger, you can add 2 pieces of tape just to make sure that it's going to stick. Here we go. Now for my antennas, I want it to be kind of a cool zigzag look to our antennas here. So I'm going to very gently kind of bend the pipe cleaner as I go, and I'm going to fold it in different ways. So I might go out here, I might go here, kind of create some cool waves so that my antenna would get the look that I want it to. You can play around with it as much as you like until you get the shape that you want. And as we go, I'm also going to start adding the beads onto the antenna too. So I'm going to put this guy right over here, and I'm going to put this one on the other side right about here. Excellent. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this shape. So I'm going to finish this off by taking the piece of tape, and just like what we did with the other end, I'm going to tape this end of the pipe cleaner onto the inside of my cardboard tube. And I'm going to add 2 pieces again just to make sure that it's going to stay for us. There we are. Now I'm going to just kind of fluff it out a little bit. Excellent. Here we have our antennas. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start adding the face and the panel of buttons that we need so that our robot can do his robot job. So I'm going to bring in that piece of construction paper here, and I'm also going to need the glue. And I'm going to start by gluing some of these buttons onto my piece of construction paper. I'm going to take my glue, and I'm going to do 4 dots, 1 in each corner. And I'm going to glue my buttons down. Now this part will have to dry for a little bit before we can put him onto the robot. So I'm just going to put this off to the side. And while it dries, I'm going to start adding the eyes to our robot here. Now I'm going to take my glue, and I'm going to put 2 dots for my googly eyes onto my robot. And I'm going to glue those eyes on. And again, this will take a little bit of time to dry. So at this point, we're going to pause the video here. And we're going to let these 2 things dry, and then we're going to move on to the last thing. All right, so now that our eyes have dried just a little bit, we can move on to the last step to make our robot. This step, we're going to add that panel that we had with the buttons onto the belly of our robot. And we're going to use some tape for this. So you can take your piece of tape here, and we're going to fold it over to make a double-sided piece of tape. You might find that you need a little bit of help with this, and that's okay. And then we're going to take this piece of tape, and we're going to put it onto the back of the panel with the buttons. And then we're going to add it to the front of our robot. Just like this. And then the very, very last thing that we're going to need to do is, if you want, you can grab a marker and we'll add a little smiley face at the bottom. Give him a little mouth. And there we have it, our very own robot. Thanks so much for joining us for this week's Museum on Your Doorstep program. We hope you enjoyed it. Check out our website for more sessions that are coming up throughout May and June. Our website is www.wellington.ca/museum, and we hope to see you again soon. Bye!